absolutely jack shit. Anyways, YouTube. So in the last video, I did Uberfest. Now I'm doing Epicfest. What's good, Eldon? So to start off Epicfest, I am doing Shadow Gal, 480 standing range, 4 second knockback. What? 4 knockback count, 160-second recharge time, 6-second attack frequency, 6,000 DPS, and 100,000 HP, plus 1 second freeze against Traitless and massive damage to Traitless. So that's 18,000 DPS against Traitless with immune to waves and knockback. I really like Shadow Gal. I still think Shadow Gal is arguably better than Dark Tanyan against Traitless. So like I'm putting him in S tier because Traitless is really good, but probably bottom of S tier just because you know, Traitless is becoming less and less valuable as time goes on. So like he has really good standing range, he has really good survivability, and he has really good niche. He also has good immunities because his immune to waves his immune to knockback may not seem like it all that good, but it's really good for moles. He's not affected by moles, so that actually helps him instead of, you know, hurting him. And so like that actually gives him a really good matchup against them. Only thing he's lacking now is surge immune, but meh, you know. But yeah, 100,000 HP on a backliner like this is really good though, and his damage is also fantastic. And now we have Mitama, and plus, obviously, Shadow Gal with 6k DPS is also really good generally for his range and survivability. So like, he has generalist value on top of everything else. Mitama does not share that generalist. Is really good, really, like, it's fantastic, while also having good range, good survivability, and good damage. Like, she's S tier mainly because of the combo, but everything else is just also really good. She's probably one of the best debuffers you'll find for triple targeting. Shadow Gal S, abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. And you know what? Dark Tanyan's also moving right up there to honorable mentions. But kind of at the bottom of honorable mentions because You know, like it or not, he struggles from the same thing as D'Artagnan in terms of he has not a lot of range. And his LD is good. His LD is good. But his damage can be lackluster outside of Traitless. Like, it's just can be. It's not lackluster at all. It is still really good. But his range is like his main problem. His survivability is really good. Of course, 30 movement speed, 5 knockbacks, 90-second recharge time, 340 range. 3.7 attack frequency, 5k DPS, but gets strengthened at 60%, so that's 10k DPS, 30k against Traitless, and 90,000 HP at level 30. He's immune to waves and warp. The main thing he's lacking is actually good immunities, because something that, you know, backliners don't really have to worry about, but mid-rangers do have to worry about, is immunities, because mid-rangers oftentimes are getting status, like they're being slowed, weakened, toxic, you know, they're having all these kinds of things, and they are struggling a lot with it. Now, he does have massive damage against Traitless, and he is arguably the best anti-Traitless. The only reason why I'm not moving him higher is because of his lack of range. I would put him above Ganesha if he had the same range as him, but also Ganesha's generalist damage is just so much higher, and like there's so much more potential. The LD is so much bigger, and it also does that like, you know, it's really good. Ganesha is really good, and D'Artagnan is too, but I don't think he can go past that Ganesha barrier, but still definitely an honorable mention in my opinion. We have so many good generalist options like Slime and Can, but high special damage is harder to get. Yes, exactly, but that also means that good support is really hard to find. So, like, support is really valuable. And, like, D'Artagnan's massive damage to Traitless is really good. 30,000 damage to Traitless, or DPS against Traitless at level 30 is really good. And that's why he's an honorable mention. But he only targets one thing. He doesn't have a lot of immunities. And he kind of just... He kind of requires his strengthen in order to be at the top of his game, so he effectively only has 3 knockbacks and like 60,000 HP instead of 5 knockbacks and 90,000 HP. Of course, this is at level 30 instead of level 60, but remember, it's just for easier comparison. So like that's kind of why I don't like a lot of strengthen Ubers, because they kind of tend to rely on their strengthen to be good. Ganesha does it the right way, where he only needs 1 knockback in order to have a strengthen that is even better than 150%, or I think it's just 150%, which is higher than 100%, which is what I meant to say. Plus he has 400 standing. Like it's just one of those. No. That's why I don't really care that much about general compared to uniqueness and specialty. Exactly, I love specialists and their value, but I do wonder how many people will disagree with my placement on D'Artagnan. And I also wonder how many people would disagree with my placement on Dazzly. I genuinely believe Dazzly to be this high up. I'd say Thundia is definitely above Mitama. Really? Sure. If you think so strongly about it, here you go. It's not that big of a difference. Like that's something that I think a lot of people forget about this tier list, is that there's not a big difference between Mitama and Thundia. There's not a big difference between Thundia and D'Artagnan. There's not a big difference between D'Artagnan and Ganesha. There's not even that big of a difference between Kai and Anubis. There's not a big difference between Chun Chun Hunters and Verbena. Like if you really think about it, there is not a big difference between any of these ranks. Like there's not that big of a difference. Like, unless you're skipping straight from C to A, there's really not even that much of a noticeable difference. Like, if you have a C tier instead of a B tier, you shouldn't be upset, because these Ubers still are good in their own way, right? They're still very valuable, if you don't have anything else. And then, like, top of B tier, of course, is kind of a lot better than C tier, because C tier in its entirety is kind of like at the bottom of the barrel, along with D tier. But like, once you get past B tier, all of these Ubers you're going to be happy to get, or you should be happy to get, for one reason or another, right? Like there's not a big difference between top of B, bottom of D, and bottom of A, top 10, right? Curse is kind of situational. Yeah, but her damage isn't. Now, let's talk about Dazzly. Why don't we? Cosmo's far better than Dazzly? What do you mean? I don't know what you mean by far better. Dazzly's not over Cosmo? Okay. I'd be willing to argue this with more emphasis and more exaggeration if I wanted to, but I just don't. I've argued about Cosmo for a long time. If you really think that range is that valuable, then go ahead. But having 22,000 DPS against everything, except for metals, is super valuable considering you have 400 standing range, which is more than enough for most of the game, 90% of the game. 400 range is more than enough, plus LD that reaches up to 675, 6 second attack frequency, which is really good. You're having a lot of attacks. This is level 30 stats, so at level 60, what's the HP? The HP is 150,000 HP plus 5 knockbacks on something with this is really good survivability, good recharge time, good cost for something with some of the best generalist DPS or damage you're going to find in the entire game. Not to mention uptime on that damage. It's no peon is getting past Dazzly, right? Unless they're immune to Surge, which isn't really something you find out all that often. And then thanks to that Surge, you also have basically 100% uptime on that Curse, which targets anything. Traitless included, metal included, zombie included. Anything can be cursed. Most zombies have a status that can be cursed. Most aliens have a status that can be cursed. Super Metal Hippo being cursed basically makes him a non-threat. And that same thing can go for a lot of different enemies as well. And since it's a Surge, you don't really have to worry about Sages because, well, it'll just reapply constantly, right? So you will still have pretty decent uptime on that Curse. Peons clearing is easy. Not necessarily if there's LD or something, right? Sometimes there are stages where slime fails to actually manage to do anything, right? And Surge does not get outclassed by Wave because Surge, simply put, you can hit things more than once. And her damage per hit isn't even bad without the Surge, right? That's 32,000 damage per Surge hit. That's pretty good, right? She's not good on a lot of advents and tower stages, and those are pretty relevant. She's really good in a lot of towers. I don't know what you're on about there. She's immune. She has a really good immunities. Immune to Wave and Surge are obviously the obvious ones, but immune to Weaken can make it so that she's less punished by Hanya, and other things, of course. And then there's also the Curse immune, which is obviously really nice for her Curse. She can also completely negate any enemy curses because Curse is Curse. If that makes sense. You don't worry about Sages if Cosmo kills them. Sage Slayer does not increase your damage by much. Even with Sage Slayer, I'm pretty sure Dazzly would have better DPS than him. Wave gets you the higher damage without needing to hit that much. You realize if Dazzly had a Wave, she would not be nearly as good as she is, right? Do we really value... Okay, I think we've been brain rotted by Battle Cats. I think Cosmo's actually ruined people's brains. Wave is not that valuable. The only reason why it helps Cosmo is because it doubled his damage. Its Pierce is not what saves him. The Wave Pierce from Cosmo is not what saved him. Cosmo has more Pierce. His Omni is what saved him with his Pierce. His Wave did not. Slime's Wave can snipe some things occasionally, but anything past level 5 is kind of unnecessary. So I think we've actually brainwashed people into believing that Surge doesn't beat Wave, whenever in reality, depending on the level, it absolutely does. Especially since it does technically give her Pierce. Just not a lot. The Surge spawns between 400 and 700. That is Pierce, because she only stands at 400. This is Pierce. This is more than enough Pierce, actually. If she had a Wave of the same damage is better than Surge? No. Because remember, it's also a lasting hitbox, which is, in my opinion, better than what Wave would do. So a level 1... And plus, you're comparing a level 1 Surge to probably a level 5 Wave. That's not how you want to do it. If you want to compare Wave and Surge, compare level 1 to level 1. I mean, I know that's an unfair comparison, but you're trying to make an unfair comparison either way. Surge is better than Wave. I don't know how that's really that much of an argument. Because, like, Surge, it's not just about Dazzly have level 3 Surge, and if she had a level 3 Wave, it would not be as good as her Surge. Right? Like, because remember, the Surge doesn't just carry out damage, it also carries out her curse, reapplying it. Meaning that she has very consistent, very high uptime curse. And even if you even if it wasn't Dazzly, right? Anything with status, right? Surge would be better than Wave. The only time I will say that Wave, a high level Wave, is better than a high level Surge is if you are like Cosmo, where you have a lot of range. And so, like, if you have a Surge, you're likely to miss a lot. That's not the case with Dazzly. Dazzly is better than Phono, but not Cosmo. I understand that this is a hot take, but guys, her survivability is so good, her immunities are so good, and her damage is so much better than Cosmo's. And her curse actually gives her quote-unquote specialist value against everything. Anything that literally does any form of status goes bye-bye. You don't have to worry about it because she just curses everything. Like, I don't see why it's such a hot take to you guys. Her slow speed prevent her from cursing threatening CC units. You act like the only threatening CC units are Henry and Crockley. They are not the only ones, and plus she can still get into their blind spot. She's not that slow. Her damage isn't that much better. I'm sorry. 20k DPS versus 10k DPS at level 60. I'm sorry. What do you mean by isn't that much better? Do you really want me to pull up Cosmo's stats? It's double. Most things don't get hit all 3 hits of damage. Well, guess what? With 10-second force swing, you're not getting all your hits off anyways. Like, what do you mean same as Cosmo? He has 10k DPS at level 60. Because remember, this is doubled by the wave, so that's only 10k. If you really want to include the attack buff, sure, that's 12k. Still way worse than Dazzly's DPS. Because, like, remember, if you're going to consider the fact that Dazzly's Surge won't always hit, you have to consider the fact that Cosmo will also miss entire attacks. Because remember, this DPS is based off of his attack frequency. That's another thing, is that Dazzly has so much more consistent damage. She attacks 4 times more often, so she's less weak to things pushing her. She's got that kind of consistent damage that can consistently give you value. That if she misses once, she can just attack again. It's not so much as a coin flip as do you land a hit, or is something immune to wave and it's gone. Like, I don't know why it's such a hot take to you guys. She's useless against Surge immune, Cosmo's is still useful against wave immune? I disagree. Because whenever Cosmo didn't have his wave, did people use him? No. And Dazzly still provides really good LD, 275 piercing. Cosmo won't miss if you lure. You don't have to lure for Dazzly. And on a generalist, on one Uber, remember, one of the things I'm considering in this tier list is if I were to have one Uber throughout the entire game without any other Uber, what Uber would I want? Would you really put Cosmo over Dazzly? Because I don't want to take a million years to lure every stage. I want to be able to just brain dead spawn Dazzly, and there you go. She has that. She has that brain dead ability to just be spawned in pretty much any stage and be able to have immense value. I would absolutely choose Cosmo over Dazzly. You guys have way too much time to waste because you have to take so much more time to make good use out of Cosmo. Because remember, 20-second attack frequency. Like, you're not clearing late game stages in 1 attack, or 2 attacks, or 3 attacks. It's going to take way more than that, and it's just gonna waste a lot of your time. Brain dead wouldn't be fun either. Yeah, but at least it's not wasting your time. I value my time. Sorry. But, like, I also think her curse is really underrated. He just works on way more stages. Maybe, okay, Dazzly works on like 90% of stages. Cosmo works on like 95% of stages. Are you really going to say that's way more? No. Like, I don't know the true math on that, but Dazzly works on a lot more stages than you think. Like, I think, like, I never thought I would say this, right? Like, a year ago, I never thought this would be something I would say. But Dazzly's underrated. Dazzly is hardcore underrated. Cosmo works on 99.1. Yeah, but he's not necessary on, like, 50% of that. Cosmo is never necessary. Obviously, no Uber is necessary, but like, you can live pretty easily without Cosmo. He's not that big of a deal. Those 5% can be very relevant and annoying without him. What kind of skill issue is that? Like, if you really want to say, oh, he's convenient, all Ubers are. Like, that's kind of... Shut the fuck up. I'm moving on. Dark Garu. Dark Garu. So, he's an anti-Traitless tank, right? He has Omni, same as normal Garu, pretty much, except he only has 2 knockbacks. Wait, did the other Garu had 3 knockbacks, right? So this guy only has 2, but he also has a strengthen at 50% HP, 6k DPS, 150,000 HP. So he's much better general. Well, he's much better against Traitless. I guess not necessarily generally, but his damage is way better than normal Garu. I don't know this wave can hit one enemy multiple times. No, one wave cannot hit the same enemy twice. The only reason why people argue it for Cosmo is because his base hit and then the wave. You know, so 2 technical separate hits. But anyways, and then the chance to survive lethal strike. Again, he's a mid-range tanker that doesn't have a status, but his damage is crazy because when strengthened, he has like 17,000 DPS. Plus a mini wave, which gives him pierce, which is nice. So I mean, I think I'll put him like, and then he's also really good against Traitless because of his resist, so he has really good survivability. Probably right about there, midway through A. It's way better nuke. Nuking isn't always the play, especially if you're a nuker that has 20-second attack frequency. Goddamn. But yeah, Dark Garu is also a really good technical nuker, but like a nuker with less than 10-second attack frequency, is that really a nuker? But anyway, Dark is actually makes it into the S tier, below Shadow Gal, but not because of her anti-Traitless. It's because of everything else she does. Colossus Slayer can be nice, I guess, but it's mainly the guaranteed shield pierce, the zombie killer, and the 150% strengthen, so that's 12k DPS, no, 10k DPS, 50% of the time with 50-second recharge time, 300 standing range, 350 Omni, 76,000 HP. When is nuking not better than consistency? Most of the time. Because consistent damage allows for you to more regularly clear peons, more regularly get your value. It allows like constant attacks, right? It allows for DPS to actually matter. Whenever it comes to damage per hit versus DPS, right? There's a huge difference. With Dazzly versus Cosmo, Cosmo has like 100,000 damage per hit plus the wave, so that's 200,000. Dazzly has about 120,000 damage per hit. Which is including the surge, but that's also a fourth of the time it takes to do a Cosmo hit. So I would rather high damage and high consistency rather than high damage, low consistency. Consistent damage doesn't need Uber, neither does nuking. You have Crazed Bahamut. You have rushers that can do the job just fine. You like Awaken Bahamut. Like, I still don't know why you're arguing this. Like, whenever I said shut the fuck up earlier, I genuinely meant it. I'm not in the mood to argue against a brick wall that is not willing to just accept that I have Dazzly above Cosmo. I'm not in a good mood right now. I already told you earlier I wanted to do a short stream, and that's not happening. So please, stop talking about Cosmo, for the love of God. Anyways... Massive damage to Traitless as well, so 30,000 DPS against Traitless, just like Dark Tanyan. Except the Strengthen is literally required instead of kind of just a bonus. Plus general survivability, plus split into multi-hit. Good speed though. Lots of immunities. Like, I think Iz has some of the most abilities in the entire game, which is actually insane. Colossus Slayer is kind of random. It is actually really random, but it can be nice occasionally, you know, especially because of the Colossal Baba. But yeah, I honestly think Dark is S tier just because of those generalist abilities. Have a good night. You too, Loaf. I just hope you know that I don't hate you or anything. That wasn't Sorry for ruining it. You didn't ruin anything. It's not just you. It's just pent up rage that I've had for any Cosmo Glazer. Because you aren't the first and you won't be the last person to argue with me about Cosmo. Trust me, I'm not mad at you specifically. I'm just tired. I'm in a bad mood. It's my bad. I'm sorry for being mean. And then Dark Phono. Dark Phono is top 1 for me. I actually think Dark Phono is the best Uber in the game. Immune to everything except Explosion. To be fair, Explosion doesn't exist whenever Dark got introduced, so I know I'm replaceable. You are not replaceable. Just saying that. Stop being self-deprecating. Yeah, 7k DPS isn't. It's not the best, but you know you can have the triple overlap, so that can be all 7k, but it's probably not going to be. Kind of like normal Phono, where you're probably going to just get 2/3 most of the time. But even then, that's like 5k DPS. So like, you know, 60,000 HP, 5 knockbacks, 500 standing range. He's less squishy than normal Phonoa, and he also has a status, like I said earlier, to prevent things from pushing up on him. So like, he kind of, and then the status is also really good. Thanks to the level 1 mini surge that is guaranteed on each of his hits, plus his immunities, he's really good at statusing. He's like a better Mitama. Because he has better range, better pierce, better blind spot, better immunities, and then also better general damage. So like it's just a Mitama if done right, or like if made in the newer meta, which is obviously because Dark Phono is newer. So like 500 standing range, really good. And like something I didn't mention with Cosmo earlier is that anything above 600 standing range is just unnecessary. So it's weird to give them bonus points. Like, why give brownie points for something that's really unnecessary and just makes it so that like the rest of their stats are worse? But whatever. It is what it is. It is better survivability to have more range, but it's not that big of a deal. I think a lot of people think of range as really bigger than it is. Way bigger than it is. Even a little bit of pushing is like 200 pixels or whatever. But anyways. Yeah, I don't think I really have to argue Dark Phono much. He's just that good. He's that guy. When Dark Phono knocks back enemies and slow gives your team so much breathing range. I mean, the knockback is an if, but you know, it is really nice. It is really nice. And then Dark Luna. I want to put Dark Luna with the other Luna. Because they're basically, in my opinion, they're equal. Right? Like, in my opinion, they're equal because what the other Luna gives is a better niche, a better damage, better range, but against worse traits. Right? Like, she's not 100% equal because they do different things. But I do believe the traits that this one targets makes it so that they are better, right? Because same thing as the other Luna, except slightly less range, slightly less damage, but way more HP. They're like a tanking version, but they also weaken instead of freeze. This weaken is basically 100% uptime thanks to the explosion. The immunities are really good, obviously. And toxic immune is something to, you know, look at. It's not something to gloss over. The counter surge can be nice. It can do a weaken, it can do a pierce shield, like it can be nice. The Omni is of course really big. It's mainly the weaken and the traits targeting. Floating, Traitless, Angel, and Aku. All 4 traits that are valuable. I don't know why I'm hearing things, but these are all 4 traits really like relevant. And so like, you know, they're good like that. Dude, I hate it when people are in my house because I can just hear them walking around. It's actually terrible. Yeah, Quake Force Swing, like, oh, by the way, the last thing I will say about her, because I'm really getting antsy to end the stream. The 20% chance to pierce shields Although it is pretty low chance, whenever you do get that chance off, the explosion makes it really worth it. And then there's, of course, also the HP. Strong Against gives about 200,000 HP, and then the Weaken gives about 400,000 HP. And remember, the Weaken is basically 100% uptime. Dark Luna is so good. Her survivability is top tier. I can't put her above the other Luna, though, because the other Luna being able to basically perma-freeze, like, it's like more than 50% uptime on freeze, which is really broken. I do think that is something that you simply can't pass just because of better traits to target, especially whenever you both target 3 different traits. Or not 3, 4 different traits. So, like, you know, I think that they're 2 peas in a pod, you know? Kind of like what I wish D'Artagnan and Darktagnan were. But, you know, it is what it is. Also, I never moved something else down, so I guess I'll move you down. So I have 6 honorable mentions and a top 10. And that is the fully updated tier list as of now. Dark Luna has her left hand up and Light Luna has her right hand up, so they are balanced. I mean, balance as all things should be. I'm quoting Thanos there. The Toxic Immune is helping against floating and zombies because of the Gobble and the Zalo. No, wait, you don't target zombies? Why? I think you targeted zombies. Sorry. Angel for Papu, I guess? What else? Oh, whatever. That stupid turkey, yeah, Gobble. I don't know why I thought it targeted zombie. Wait, does the other Luna even target zombie? Is zombie untargeted? Or is it... No, wait, no, this Luna has zombie kill. Yeah, this Luna has zombie kill, so yeah. Bad Gobbles, I guess that's about it, but still can be nice, you know? Thundia got better generalist value? No. Thundia has kind of the same problem as Cosmo, in my opinion, where, like, the attack frequency is so long that, like, it is still really good whenever they do get a hit off, but it's whenever they do get a hit off. Because, like, I kind of just have a problem with nukers, right? Like, it's so less consistent to use a nuker or anybody with over a 10-second attack frequency. Like, it's less consistent and it's more punishing if they fail. Because missing out on a hit from, like, having Lasvos, Cosmo, or Thundia miss 1 hit is so much more punishing than even making Dazzly miss 2, right? So, like, it's just punishing, right? Because, like, remember, there's not just one way to miss, right? Like, if something gets knocked back while the other one is getting their hit in, that's a miss, right? So, like, it's kind of one of those things where, like, those kind of things happen. Consistency and, you know, punishability, I guess, are things to consider sometimes whenever you're getting to the nitty-gritty or something, whatever you consider it. But yeah, that's gonna be that. You love nukers? Well, I just don't like luring. Like, it's a different play style. I don't want to have to change my play style just because of the Uber I'm using. I'd rather my play style be supported perfectly by the Uber, which Anubis, Dark Phono, Dazzly. My top 3 perfectly, all 3 perfectly co-align with each other and suit my play style. So, like, it's like my personal experience. Obviously, my playstyle supports these Ubers. Like, if you're the kind of person to lure more than anything else, then Cosmo, Lasvos, and Thundia would probably be way higher for you, you know? Like, Nuking has always been my playstyle, and that's exactly where this being my opinion and this being my tier list comes in. Feel free to make your own tier list. Don't act like it's fact that I'm wrong, right? Because remember, it's my opinion. It's my personal opinion based off of my personal experience. And so, like, it's kind of that kind of thing where you got to be considerate, you know? No hate, no negative conversation, just straight up, oh, cool, that's your opinion? Well, here's mine. Yours is still valid, but mine is also, like, I think that mine is, you know, yeah. You know, this is mine, that's yours. Those are 2 separate things. We do not have to argue about it. And I think that's where a lot of tier list enjoyers kind of struggle to follow the line of, you know? I find Lazlo's too inconsistent though. That's fair because he doesn't have any form of pierce or anything. Sorry for being rude. No, you're fine. Like, it's not. Remember, it's not just you. You're not the worst of the bunch. I'm saying this because I know that there's a lot of people watching this that aren't you. My opinion puts Amakusa high A. Yeah, you're fucking high. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, like I said, everybody's opinion is fine, but my opinion dislikes Alex. Don't worry, me too. But YouTube, if you did enjoy, please do come back for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.